You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
This episode is brought to you by Heyday. Feeling stressed? Take a moment for yourself with Heyday. Stroll through rows of golden wheat, tend to cute barnyard animals, and discover the joys of a digital farm retreat. You don't have to hop in a car or catch a plane. Escape to the farm at the tap of a finger. With Heyday, you're not just tending to a farm, you're tending to yourself. Heyday. Search Heyday, that's Hay space DAY, in your favorite app store. Heyday is a free-to-play mobile game and offers optional in-app purchases and random rewards.
What is up, good people? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. This one is a special one because I am talking to my new dude, Amico Demuzio, who plays with an artist you've probably seen on my hat if you've watched any of my videos, somebody I'm very, very into, a man named Charles Wesley Godwin. And Amico is an absolutely killer musician. He loves gear, he loves tone, he's a fantastic steel player, he plays banjo. I've seen him play drums. I don't know if there's anything this man can't play. I'm not really sure. I don't think that's possible. I think he's got it all covered. And if he doesn't, he'll figure it out. As you will hear on this very episode. I don't have a ton of business to get into. I want to get to the episode quickly, but I do want to give another plug for my new show, Tape Spaghetti. I know you're probably getting a little tired of me talking about it, but as long as Tape Spaghetti has less listeners than this podcast, I'll know that not all of you have checked it out yet, and that makes me big sad, as millennials like me will say on the internet. In all seriousness, if you like music and you like weird tales about music, you're going to like this show. It's a music history podcast with kind of a odd bent to it, and I'm really happy with the episodes that we are dropping. Actually, this week, I'm dropping my favorite one that we recorded. Yeah. So if you haven't checked it out yet, now is a good week to do it, and I appreciate all of you who have, and everybody who has really helped push this thing up the charts in a way that I was not expecting. So thank you all so much. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into this episode with my dude Amico. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast, a show about guitar stuff, occasionally, sometimes. I'm your host, Blake Wyland. With me today, I have Amico Demuzio. Hello. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, Blake. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm fantastic. I'm excited to have you here because
Likewise.
You are partially responsible for one of the best shows I've seen in recent memory. So,
Oh, shucks. That's too kind of you. Thanks, man.
Yeah, dude. And I just want to get your story, but first I think I should get into how I became familiar with you, and
Sure.
Then we can get into the whole weeds of the situation. So,
Yeah, please do.
I first became aware of you because I am a fan of Charles Wesley Godwin, and my wife introduced me to him, probably 4 years ago, something like that.
Nice.
You guys played a show in Canby, Oregon.
Yeah.
Canby, Oregon is about 10 minutes from my house.
Oh, cool.
So we went to that show, and I saw it and was like, this is awesome. So
Nice. That was a ground floor show, too.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And then my friends in Lucero were playing the next day, and so I got to go hang out with them. So we were there for both shows. It was a good time.
Nice.
Unfortunately, that festival got shut down, even though I really, really enjoyed it. But
Nice. Yeah.
I think we've caught you every time you've came to Oregon at this point.
That's cool. Yeah.
So then, of course, like any band I get really into, I start diving into the members. And that's how I discovered you and your social media and realized that, oh, this guy can play everything. Let's get him on the show and dive into his story. And that's kind of what I want to do today.
Oh, geez. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was never at that Canby show. I've heard a lot about it from the guys, but that was before I had started working with them. That was pre even merch selling days.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
So is that how you got started?
So yeah, pretty much as a segue into that, I'd started search. I'm only 21 years old, and I've been playing music since I was probably 3 or 4. So picking up guitar and drums, and just over the course of my life, I come from a small town in rural Western Pennsylvania, and musicians are, I wouldn't say few and far between, but we all know each other, the few that there are, and most of them just happen to be in the Charles band. And they had watched me grow up, like playing bar gigs and stuff, and I'd played a lot extensively with them. And one of them being my cousin, Al Torrance. He's the lead guitar player. He's
incredible. Yeah.
Been around me my entire life and has shown me and taught me a lot of things. And it just came down to at one point, it was like, I think it was my either sophomore or junior year of high school, where I'd known about their band and everything like that. I wasn't like super up to speed with them or where they were at or what they were doing, but Al had like asked to borrow my bandmaster, which is sitting here next to me, and he toured with that for a while. So I knew that they were like out doing stuff, just not to the extent of it, to the extent that they actually were. I didn't know about, but so I was going to Votech school. I was welding. I was probably in my early my second year of welding, and like getting all these certifications and stuff and job opportunities lining up, and Albert's dad, who's also Albert Sr., he brought to my dad's attention that they're going out for this next leg of tour, and like a couple of these shows, people were just like going up to the merch table and like stealing shirts, because it was just them playing and then their photographer, Trevor. So there was nobody there to really man the merch table. It's not like they were like, they had 1,000 shirts or something like that at the merch table. It was just like, a handful, maybe a tote full of shirts in various sizes. And, but still, people were just like taking them off the table, so they had to do something about it. And his dad had come to mind, and he was like, "Hey, would Meeks want to go like sell shirts for a weekend or something, or at least like watch the table, just make sure nobody's taking stuff until they can get off the stage and actually sell them?" And my dad was like, "No kid of mine's going to go out and go sell T-shirts." And he knew that it was all good stuff that was happening. They weren't like like your typical rock star sort of thing, but
right.
Still, he was like, "No, man, he's welding. He's about to get a really good job. He's probably not going to have the time for it. This is going to be a big summer for him coming up, getting his first welding job and all that kind of stuff." And I'd never really traveled before that, so like had no clue what I was going to get into. But man, I just got on a whim. I was talking to some teachers and stuff and telling them about the opportunity and friends around me, and it just seemed like the resounding answer, which I kind of knew in my heart of hearts was just like, just go try it. So like travel, and even if it's not the right fit, just do it for a weekend and have fun with it. And it ended up launching this thing where I sold and started to manage merchandise for a band for 2 years in a field that I had no prior like knowledge to, like the service industry, if you want to call it that, like, dealing with people selling stuff. And that was super eye-opening, as well as seeing how all these shows are run and seeing how just professional musicians work aside from the Charles band, like all the bands we got to interact with and the shows and the festivals we played, just seeing how those things operate was just insane. But so I sold the merch for 2 years, and then Reed Connolly ended up splitting off and going with the Zach Bryan band full time, and it opened up a door for some potential candidates, some of which were just fill-ins for a period of time. Either they had prior obligations, or it just never really worked out. And then just came to Charles coming to me and being like, "Hey man, if you can find a pedal steel and learn how to play it, then you can tour with us next year." Right.
Well, I mean, that's kind of incredible, because I mean, playing the instrument is one thing. I've talked about this with a lot of people. That is very important. Obviously, you need to be able to do that.
For sure.
But what's almost more important is like, are you reliable? Are you a good hang? Do our personalities mesh well? Because we're going to be spending a lot of time
together. And especially in the music industry, where a lot of it is fueled by like a lot of egos and stuff like that, and which are typically never good. Not never good, I shouldn't say that, but like they I don't know, it just doesn't always work out.
Yeah, but you already had proven that part of it because you'd been doing it for a couple of years, just in a different role.
Them. And like I said too, they watched me grow up since I was a little kid. Aside from Charles and like Reed and I think Max, that was the only 3 people out of that group that I didn't really know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, you know.
So you learned pedal steel specifically for this role, then?
There was probably like a month or two because I had, you know, in sound checks and stuff, I'd go up to Reed. I've always been intrigued by that sound. Like I knew like adjacently what it was, like kind of the idea of it, but I'd never really seen one, never seen anybody play one. But I've always loved, like, you know, growing up listening to Crosby, Stills and Nash and hearing Jerry play pedal steel on Teach Your Children or like all the Marshall Tucker stuff with Toy Caldwell. Like that stuff was so ingrained in my mind from a really early age that I was like, I love that sound. It's not a guitar. It is, but it's not. And it's like, I just always had a curiosity about it. And then just had the opportunity to just be around one all the time and hear somebody who was really good at playing it and somebody who was super personable that I could go up and just ask babbling questions to, be like, how many strings are on it? How's it tuned? Just that kind of stuff. And then I don't know. I just kind of woke up one morning. I was like, I'm going to get a pedal steel. And this was before this happened. This was probably like a month or two prior to that. And finally searched one out. I'm in Pittsburgh. I had to drive to Kent, Ohio, which is almost 3 hours away, and went and looked at one. And it was kind of tough to just go out there and not pick one up. So I came home with my first steel that day and then just started playing it and like immediately had a love for it and just loved the challenge of trying to figure everything out. And then, yeah, probably 2 months later, you know, the guys were noticing that I was like taking it pretty seriously, and it had coincided with how that whole timeline worked out. So,
yeah, it is absolutely. It feels weird because like I play guitar, kind of, not great, but
man, you're a good player.
Oh, I appreciate that. Man.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just obsessed with it. I just love the sound of it, but I'm so bad with like knowing what I'm actually doing. I'm like, I don't know. I hit it and it makes burr sounds. I
do the same, man. It doesn't matter what level it happens or anything. It's just as long as you have a passion for it and you can get the tactile sensation of figuring out, oh, this does this thing, that does that, and just how to have fun doing that. That's all that matters.
Well, you're kind of inspiring me because pedal steel is absolutely one of my favorite sounding instruments on the planet and has been forever.
Hell yeah.
And I've tried to hack my way around it on a Telecaster with a slide and stuff, and it's like, man, I'm not quite getting it. And I just absolutely love that sound. And I've been very curious about trying it, but genuinely I've been like intimidated. I'm like, there's a lot. I got to use my knees. What are you talking about? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on.
It's a very involved instrument. You gotta first have all your appendages. I mean, that's like the biggest challenge. And then you gotta be able to use them in conjunction with one another at the same time and in various capacities. It's wild.
What do you suggest for somebody like me who's insanely curious about it, but a little intimidated? Is there a place you recommend starting?
I feel like there's two. Granted, I haven't even been playing for like 2 years yet, but that's
why I think you're the perfect person to answer this question. Actually,
I could see that. I think there's two paths you could go down. If you don't want to get like totally involved, I don't know. I don't even know if I could say that because I was going to say if you get like a B bender or something like that, or even like a B and E bender, you could start on a guitar on a platform that you're familiar with, 6 strings, like fretted, that kind of stuff. But you still get the bending action and like the physical mechanics of how a pedal steel guitar works. You could go that route, or you could probably spend less money than doing that because B benders are crazy expensive and they're pretty involved. But you could get a lap steel, which is the route that I took. I started on a 6-string lap steel and an open E tuning and played that for probably about a year, and then incorporated a volume pedal into that. So you're getting the mechanical functions of the feet and the hands working together to make kind of one sound.
All right, I've got a volume pedal, so
that's a perfect start. Yeah, just get those swells, like, you know.
I'm already pretty comfortable with that side of it.
Well, there you go. So, that's a large part of the battle, is trying like to, you know, like a quarter of the whole pedal steel sound, probably larger than that, is those swells, like the pad kind of swell sounds. Like that's a huge part of it.
Yeah. It's just it does something to my soul. I just love it. I grew up listening to a lot of country music, and I still do today, obviously. And it just, every time I hear a good pedal steel lick, it's like,
It's a very emotional instrument. I mean, it's crazy. You can do the most simple thing, the same thing that you could do on a guitar, but it's not as impactful, I don't think. Or it's impactful in a different way.
it's unique. It's something. There's something very special about the tone of it and the feel that it's. And you can get some of that on a guitar, but it's just
totally. Yeah, there's so many good
thing.
players out there. I mean, guys have been doing it forever. Even like in the new Riders of the Purple Sage stuff, can't remember the lead guitar player's name right now, but him and Buddy Cage would trade licks back and forth. He might have even had a B bender. So in that band, they had a pedal steel and a B bender, two phenomenal musicians, but you're still getting that same sort of thing. And it's like, yeah, you can definitely do it on a guitar. It's just not quite the same, man.
Yeah, exactly. So we kind of leapt forward. I want to take some steps back.
Yeah.
What was your first instrument?
Guitar, for sure.
Guitar? Yeah.
I had a first stack, still have somewhere. It's not up here yet because I'm still kind of in the process of moving back into this new studio. But I started out with a Walmart first stacked Flying V that my aunt had painted in red fingernail polish, Meeks, my nickname, on it when it's probably 4 years old or something like that.
Wow. Was it a full size guitar or was it?
No, it's like I don't even know if it's 3/4. It might even be smaller.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's gnarly.
Yeah.
That's so cool though. You started so young. Like most people I talk to, I've done a lot of interviews at this point and they have a story more like mine where it's like, around 12, 12 to 14 is when most people start.
I hear that a lot too, talking to people. Like that seems to be the general age where people start to get it. Well, because I feel like at that point in your life too, you're getting introduced to more music on your own. You're not like listening to stuff in grocery stores or stuff like that. Like, you're searching out like actual albums and artists that you feel like you might want to identify with and that sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. So, but at 4, I feel like at least for my brain, that's about the age I can start remembering things, for maybe 3, if I'm being generous.
Yeah.
So you've been playing basically as long as you can remember.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I come from a semi-musical family. Like none of my immediate family, they're all first, second cousins, much like Al, but on my dad's side of the family, his first cousins, the Granati brothers, they were a Pittsburgh group from the 70s and 80s. And they had an album out and they had a major deal with A&M Records. So they were like doing stuff back in the day, but I mean, just like tremendously talented people. Like it's unbelievable how much talent came out of those 4 guys, and like, typical brothers band kind of thing. Like they just all they knew was music. It wasn't anything other than that. So I guess it kind of is in my blood, as they say, but right. I'm the only one in my immediate family who got it. But my dad and his dad before him, they're both extremely talented woodworkers. So they have like the artistic side of things too. So, but I guess it's just translated to music for me.
So how did your family, obviously welding, great career. I was a mechanic. I used to do some welding. I'm very familiar with that world.
Hell yeah.
How did your family react to the actual switch? It's one thing to go from like, we're going to try this for a weekend to I'm doing this full time now. So
yeah.
How did that go for you?
As far as t-shirts went, it wasn't super well received. It was like, man, it's tough. And, I'm not trying to talk poorly about my family at all. I love them to death and they've supported me every inch of the way. But it was probably the first point in my life where I got some serious pushback as far as like support went. They were like, you sure about this? Like, you really just want to go like sit in a van with 12 stinky dudes in like the middle of nowhere, like Nebraska for 2 weeks and sell t-shirts for a band that you're not even playing in? And I was like, yeah, I think I do. It's just way different than anything that I had experienced before. And it was music adjacent. So that was enough for me on the musical side. And I kind of had a feeling that it would lead to something. I never imagined it would be what it is right now. But I mean, like, I thought like, I could meet somebody, like meet a guitar player who needs a bassist or something, or meet a bassist or a drummer who needs a guitar player. That could always be a possibility, or find session work or something like that. But yeah, they were, I loved welding too. They saw that I had a serious passion for that too. And, I have like a great welding setup at home, and I was doing odd jobs for my dad's friends and stuff that have like heavy machinery, or they wanted like, some trailer ramps built or something like that. I would do that kind of stuff and make money that way. And yeah, they were just, I think they were kind of sad to see me not kind of fulfill that passion, which I feel like I did, because I went pretty far with it, as far as, being a high school kid and just learning something in like a short amount of time and then trying to take it to the fullest extent. But No, I think ultimately after a couple months, they were like seeing that I was traveling and really enjoying traveling and like starting to view things from my own perspective for the first time. I think they were pretty stoked on that. And then, as it turned, we were playing bigger and bigger shows and playing with some really cool people. And I think that kind of was the tipping point where they're like, all right, this is a cool thing.
Yeah. I mean, that makes all the sense in the world. I just was thinking when you said that, I'm like, well, see, the thing about welding or mechanic work or anything like that is that's always there.
Oh, it's super it's like the most stable job you could probably find as far as like mechanically inclined things go.
Mm-hmm. It's never going to go away. So one thing, my son's 9, and he's now starting to ask those questions about, work and career and like, not like in a serious way, but he's sure. He realizes that dad's got a weird job.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure that's going to be pretty interesting to try to navigate in a cool way. Not,
Yeah. And I'm trying to, I try to take the advice I was given growing up wasn't terrible advice. It was very practical, but it wasn't very fitting for my personality type.
Sure.
I'm obsessed with all this stuff. I'm kind of more of that weird creative person, but the advice I was given was find a job that you can tolerate that's stable and do that. And that's basically as good as it's going to get.
Yeah.
With no thought as to, there are careers that you can actually enjoy, not just tolerate. That is a thing that is possible.
Yeah.
So I did that. And I do still like mechanic work and I still do like turning wrenches, but I like to do it on my own time,
Right. Yeah.
I like to improve things. I don't like to fix them.
Yes. I'm very much of that school of thought too. I feel that. I love because my dad tears down buildings now. He does residential demolition, just self-employed, that kind of thing. And he's got a skid loader and an excavator and stuff is always breaking and putting new teeth on buckets and stuff like that. That's like my bread and butter. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be welding on a bridge where it's like supporting like 40 tons of cars going across it every day and putting people's like lives at risk. I'm not about that. I like the low stakes improvement.
Yes. Well, I appreciate those that do that though, because I need to drive on those.
Well, it's talk about essential. That's it.
Yeah, 100%. But it is cool. Where I was going with that with my kid is like the advice I'm trying to give him is like, well, I think you should try to find something that you like to do and work on that. But I sleep better at night knowing that I do have something to fall back on that will pretty much never go away. Like
absolutely,
bolt's always going to need turning, and I know how to turn them.
No, buddy, you and I are one and the same with that for sure.
I don't intend or want to ever go back to having to do that full time. That's not the goal.
Yeah,
but
of course.
At the same time, like I said,
at least
it does help me sleep. Yeah, it's there, and it's just good for like, oh, my car's broke. Yeah, I can fix it.
It saves you money in other places. Now you can go buy a new pedal.
Yeah, exactly. I can spend my money on the pedals.
There you go.
Speaking of that, you've got quite the board there kind of behind you.
Oh, this old thing?
Yeah, what do you got there? What's going on with that?
So this is my home, like, weirdo random board. This is just stuff this is in the bullpen. It's... God, I'm ashamed to show this. It's a mess, but there's
please.
a lot of weird things here.
Yeah, I like this. I like what I'm seeing.
It's weird. So I'm a big Jerry Garcia guy. So a lot of these things, like the octave divider and the Mutron, these are all Jerry-esque effects. But it's just a lot of weird that I've accumulated over the last probably 5-6 years or so of like getting into pedals and stuff like that. The Space Echo, this is like probably one of my favorite pedals to ever come out. That's great. Like the Boss little mini Space Echo. It's awesome. This guy, which is not on here, this was on my road board for quite a while, but I've found having too many knobs on a thing that I only use for a couple songs is not really a good thing. So it's made a great studio piece, the Kernum.
Yeah, the Kernum. Yeah,
it's awesome, man.
I've heard so many good things about it, and I'm supposed to be talking to those guys here pretty soon, but I've never played one. Yeah,
that's awesome, dude. It's great. I wish you were here to check it out right now because I haven't even tapped into probably 10% of what it can do. It's just it's phenomenal. I actually, when we were in Portland for the Crystal Ballroom, we went to I got this from Thunder Road. Those guys were super great.
Those guys are amazing.
Yeah, they had it on consignment there, and I was playing it. Of course, it sounded good because I was playing it through a 2-rock and I think a Les Paul Jr. or something like that. And I was just like, oh yeah, I need to have this.
Of course, yeah.
And it translated pretty well to my rig too for the steel guitar through the Peavey and all that kind of stuff. But I just found it's better suited for staying home.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
I will grab. This is probably more interesting and something I can actually talk about more in depth.
Cool.
My road board. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, no sweat.
Hey, Rocky.
What's up, Vincent?
Did you hear about the latest?
Latest what?
The latest drop from Maris. It's totally insane.
No, tell me more.
Maris just released Enzo X.
What's that?
Enzo X is a supernova expansion from the original Enzo into the highest quality and most flexible studio synthesizer ever created in a pedal format.
Whoa!
Enzo X combines 5 synth types, 5 drives, 3 reverbs, and 5 modulations. It also includes a full 2.5 second stereo delay, all in one pedal.
That sounds hard to use.
It's not. The UI is from the same family as the Mercury X and the LVX. It's super easy to dive in and see exactly what you are tweaking in real time.
Oh, I see. It's right there on the screen.
Yep.
Is it just for guitars, though?
Nope. You can plug almost anything into the Enzo X, including your MIDI controller.
That sounds incredible. Where do I get it?
You can pick up Enzo X online at maris.us or at any of their fine retailers across the globe.
Did you just say across the globe?
They know what I meant.
Wait, are we getting paid for this?
I'm still waiting on that cash money from last time.
He better at least give us pizza for dinner.
I'm not giving him his Enzo X back until he does.
For more information, make sure you check out maris.us, and apparently I have to go order a pizza. How exactly do artists get their music on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, all these services? How in the world do you get your music there? Well, in the past, you had to use something called a record label. But these days, you can use DistroKid. DistroKid is the absolute easiest way to get your music up on streaming services. And it's the most affordable way to do so. Not only do plans start at $22.99 for the entire year, that's less than $2 a month, DistroKid also does not take a cut of your streaming revenue, unlike some other services out there. Even better if you sign up by going to tonemob.com/distrokid. That's tonemob.com/distrokid. One more time, that's tonemob.com/distrokid. You'll get 30% off. That's right, 30% off their already extremely reasonable prices. So go to tonemob.com/distrokid and get your music out there. We are brought to you today by Sweetwater, specifically the Gear Exchange. You may have heard about this. This is a place where you can go to buy and sell your used gear. Maybe you got a pedal over there that's just kind of collecting dust. Maybe there's something you've been eyeing from the Sweetwater catalog. Well, right now is a great time to turn that unused gear into something you're actually going to use. Even better, if you sell on the Gear Exchange, you can keep 100% of the sale as long as you choose a Sweetwater gift card as your payout method. That is not too shabby because, let's be honest, most of this buying and selling we do is just to fund new gear purchases, and that is a great way to reach a wide variety of customers and keep 100% in your pocket, or rather on your pedal board. So go check out the Sweetwater Gear Exchange and turn that unused gear into something that's actually going to help you write that next huge riff. Oh yeah, here we go.
So this is what I actually tour with.
Well, there's a lot of knobs on that one too.
A lot of knobs on this one too, but a lot of them, the settings do stay pretty much same. I've been using them for longer, so I know kind of where to put them if they get bumped. But really, really digging where this is at the moment. The mainstays have been the Lex, obviously the Strobo tuner for steel stuff, and this Jackson. They're just super solid. Bloom. But I had an Avalanche run on before this this Golden which I really like them both, but the Golden's just better, just way more solidly built and just, a little more rugged, and just less parameters too, which is kind of nice. This is kind of the banjo side of stuff for like the RF and the DI and all that. So
okay, that makes
really
sense.
Just the steel side is this here, including the switcher. But yeah,
I love that Golden pedal.
Dude, it's amazing.
It's an incredible reverb. Really, they did a great job with that one.
They knocked it out of the park, and the plug-in too is great. Like the I'm trying to think, the UA. I can't even think of what it's called, but it's like their plate plugin. So it's nice to kind of have that same thing that I'm familiar with in the studio.
I know what you're talking about.
This.
I use that one all the time too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really but good. It's fairly simple. This is like a Klon style clone that a buddy of mine gave me, and just works really well with my amp and my pedal and lap steel. This JHS Unicorn is awesome. This was given to me by Eric in our band, which was given to him by Reed. So it's kind of
nice
staying in the circle of the band, and I've been using it on a lot of tracks at home, and trying to find more uses for it as like a light sort of univibey thing on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to add some more flavor, but that's pretty much it, dude. The Lex, I think that's like top 5 pedals of all time, maybe even 3. It's
I've never played the Lex.
I've never heard anything that gets closer to a rotary speaker, Leslie sort of thing than this. I mean, it's perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the coolest.
I feel like the Lex and the Deco. The Deco is my favorite Strymon pedal.
Yeah, the Deco is great too.
Mm-hmm. I think those are the 2 unsung heroes of the lineup. I need to play a Lex.
Big time, yeah. And I'm not even super familiar with the Strymon stuff. Like my buddy has the big 3, and we've gone like down that whole rabbit hole with him and stuff too. But I haven't really checked out a lot of the other ones, admittedly. Honestly, I need to get more. I wish they were a little more accessible, financially. But they, if I had to like Desert Island pedal, this is one of them, just for fun.
Yeah, with the big box Strymon stuff, the thing for me is I wanted those for a long time, and I was like, I'm going to get those. Mm-hmm. And then Maris came out with their big box stuff. I was like, I don't need it anymore.
I'm unfamiliar with Maris.
Maris is actually, they're a supporter of the show.
Nice.
First of all. So they're super cool.
Nice little plug. There you go.
Yeah, they've been on the show. I think the engineer dudes, Terry and Angelo, have been on twice. And then Gina, who does a lot of basically everything you see. Mm-hmm. From them is her, and she was on recently too.
Sick.
I love them, but also like even if they weren't, supporting the show, their reverb and delay they did in their big box format is bananas. Like,
nice.
You don't really need anything else because it can do any sound that you can think of in those categories, and probably a lot that you didn't know existed. They're bonkers. You should take a look at them.
I have to check that out. Yeah, that sounds super intriguing.
They're not cheap, but again, they do so many things that it almost is like, well,
I mean, that's how all this stuff is if you're spending good money for it, you're typically getting what you're paying for. A lot of the times, not all the time, but most of the time.
It's never been a better time to be a musician.
That's the truth, man. I don't know how we can go up from here, but I'm excited to see how we do.
Well, you mentioned plugins and stuff, and I noticed on some of the tracks you've made for social media and stuff, you were using some amp sim things, even though you've clearly got a bunch of rad amps that I can see there.
Yeah, and more in the basement.
You're using the Lion on one, I think.
Yeah, man, what a great plugin. It's incredible. They're even the physical Lion pedal is amazing. Some of the best amp sim I've ever heard, and I'm like, as you can tell, I'm an analog guy. I got a 2-track tape machine sitting next to me, but the plugins are. It's fantastic, man. The way that how they work and all that stuff. They've gotten so good at that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the Lion is incredible.
I've got that plug in recently. I used to be all tube all the time, and I still, in my heart, if I had to choose one, that's the way I'm going to go.
Me too.
I'm good friends with Chris Benson at Benson Amps, and I've told the listeners this story before, but this is where I made the turn. Was he did a plug-in with Mixwave.
Okay.
And I'm really familiar with the Benson amps. I've played a lot of them. I've got 3 of them. I'm very into what he does. And he called me and he was like, you need to come play this plug-in. It wasn't out yet. Mm-hmm. I was like, I What? What?
It's a plug-in.
Come play a plug-in? Okay, I'll come over and play your plug-in, whatever.
Sure.
And so he's got the Chimera plug-in, like some beta version of it, on his like little 6-inch studio monitors. And I plug into it and I'm playing. I'm like, what is this? This feels like the amp, even like not 100%, but like,
of course, yeah,
90%, 85%,
a surprising amount.
Yeah, I was like, I've never played one that feels and responds. It feels like your amp. And he's like, I know, it's freaky. And what actually happened, and he told this story when they released the plugin. So they sent him 2 files, and they were like, okay, guess which one's the real amp recorded in our really nice studio, and guess which one's the plugin. And he got it wrong.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's the guy that makes the amps.
That's
and he's
freaky.
Got a very good ear. He's really critical about
I'm
that
sure.
stuff.
I mean, that's, hearing that's like hearing a child of yours talk,
Yep.
You'd know that voice from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to...
And so that's when he's like,
wrong,
I guess we'll make a plugin. Because he wasn't going to do it. They actually... He was like, okay, well, try, do it. And then if it's good, I'll put my name on it.
Right.
And so they were kind of... They risked a lot of R&D making this thing, and they were very confident that they could get there, and they really smoked it. It sounds ridiculous, and that made me give other things a try and opened me up to the digital realm a lot more than I ever was, and I'm glad for it because it sure makes my life easier.
Oh man, yeah, a million times over, because not only can you like record it and then alter it afterwards, you get the the same sort of feel for it, the physical space component of it. You don't have to have good mics or anything like that. It's all in the software. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, I'm sure for amp builders that's kind of a double-edged sword, because like you want to have something that's accessible to everyone, where if there's people that primarily work with computers and they get to spend less money on a plugin and get the same sound out of your kind of amp, that's cool. But then you also are losing physical amp sales, and your passion in building those circuits and stuff, I feel like kind of is diminished by that sort of thing. So I'm sure that's a tough decision to make as like an amp builder, to be like, well, let's switch over to the digital thing or dip our toes into it.
Yeah, it's an interesting conundrum, because there's an argument that could be made that now you're going to introduce people to your sound that otherwise would never be able to access it.
Absolutely.
And so they make things with it and they tell other people about it. Basically getting customers you would never, ever have otherwise. Right. And there's also some people who get the plugin and they love it so much. They're like, I got to get the real thing. Got to do it. Got to do it. Yeah. So it can go both ways.
For sure.
But it's definitely, it's changed a lot of amps are like the one category in musical instruments that are recessing, unfortunately. Yeah. And it's because everything's getting so good. But people that make good stuff are still selling amplifiers, and I think they probably always will. I
don't think that's ever going to go away, or at least anytime soon.
People like us, we can't not.
Yeah. Right.
Have you ever tried any of like the load boxes or anything? I'm kind of obsessed with the Boss tube amp expander family.
I haven't got into much of that at all, honestly.
It's really a have your cake and eat it too situation. I love the Boss tube amp expander. I've got the original and I've got the new smaller one. Nice. The Core, they call it. I'm obsessed. Yeah. Because it's the best of all worlds. You get to plug your real amp in, and then you can run direct out. What I usually do is run the direct out just dry, and then I swap the IRs in later, because that's part of the fun of digital. Right. But you can also run it out to your cab at the same time and mic it traditionally.
Oh, so then you can get a good blend.
You can do all the things, right? Yeah. And then it's got for little amps, it can make them bigger. Like I've done it with like a Fender Champ. Oh, I love this sound, but it's too small. Plug it into a big cab, and it's got a 100-watt power amp on it.
Wow.
So, or you can make your bigger amps quieter, but still cranked. It's a cool piece of gear. They're not cheap.
That sounds really neat.
But the Core is probably the best bet for most people, because it has most of the functionality. I think it's a 30-watt amp that's in there. Okay. But if you're using it for recording mostly, that's probably the way to go.
That's more than you'd ever need, honestly. Yeah. I mean.
And then if you're playing live and you need to run a silent stage for some reason, which sounds terrible, but some people have to do it.
Yeah, a lot of stages are like that nowadays, man. Especially in like I mean, you look at venues like the Sphere, it's like totally silent stage.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't mean terrible in that it sounds bad to the audience. I mean, as a musician, it sounds like a nightmare.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, especially that's especially so at festivals and stuff too. They really try to keep the stage volume down for a lot of those types of things. Yeah. Which you would think would be the opposite because you're outdoor and stuff like that. But I couldn't tell you the logistics of it, but that's just what we've kind of encountered. And especially for like smaller theaters and stuff too, where being in a smaller space, it's really reverberant. You definitely want a quieter stage. But as a musician, and especially a guitar player, it never feels good to have a quiet amp.
No.
No. That's just the nature of sonics, you know?
Yeah. But that is what's nice about this. If you have an amp that you love and you're bringing it with you, tube amp specifically, it doesn't work for solid state, but you can load in whatever IRs you like into it and have all these different patches you can pick from and run those to front of house. And so you kind of get all the best of all worlds, in my opinion.
Sure sounds like
tube amp expander. I love it.
That's incredible. Yeah, thanks for putting me onto those because I don't know anything about that. So that's really cool to see that's a thing now.
Well, next time you're here, come over. We'll experience it in real time.
Please, I'd love to. That'd be amazing.
Yes.
Does anybody make a solid state equivalent of that?
Not that I know of, and I don't know what it is. Because I have a solid state amp I'd really like to do that with. I got a Sun Beta lead that I love. Oh, yeah.
That's a crazy amp.
It's so gnarly. I got it exclusively because of Red Fang. I fully admit that. It's such a gnarly amp.
Yeah.
And the Melvins, too, I guess.
Sure.
Credit where credit's due.
That is a heavy amp.
It's heavy in every way.
Yeah, I was going to say physically and sonically.
Yep. Yeah. It's the 212. Too, so it's not even the head and cab.
Oh yeah.
Wow. And they do this weird thing where the speakers are slanted.
I've seen that. Yeah,
it's hard to mic up. That's why I would like to be able to do something like that. But as far as I know, it'll barbecue a solid state amp, from what I'm told. So
oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're very specific about that.
Yeah, well, maybe at some point somebody will make one of those because I'd be interested in that too. My Peavey is just like insanely loud, and it's 115, which is, you know, it's one of the best 15-inch speakers ever made, the Black Widow, but it's like it's anywhere you put that knob, like below 2, it's like nothing, and then anywhere towards 2, it's just it explodes. It's so loud, but it's such a good like tone. It's such a great amp. It's just, I wish there was a better way to regulate it and then be able to get that sort of direct out thing, like you're saying with the IRs, and just either make a blend of the speaker itself and something like a Amico 12 or something like that, you know, or JBL, or that'd be cool.
So which Peavey is that? I don't think I'm familiar.
It's here. Allow me to show you.
All right, let's go.
Hello there. I'd like to introduce you to your new best friend, the Chase Bliss Audio Lossy. Lossy is a collaboration between Chase Bliss and Goodhertz. And it's meant to give you some control over those weird digital artifacts that come with very compressed audio. You're hearing it right now. All the changes that are taking place are strictly coming from my playing dynamics. I'm just interacting with the pedal and letting it do its thing. In some true stereo goodness. If you'd like some more details about Lossy, I'd invite you to head over to chaseblinssaudio.com. I think you're going to like what you find.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
It's the Session 500.
Yeah.
It's the 4 and 500 were the steel amps, and still are, as far as I'm concerned. A lot of other steel players too. This is like the amp.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. There's like I don't know if you're familiar with the steel guitar forum, but it's by the name unchanged since 1994 probably. And there's like a spreadsheet that somebody drew out of one of the steel guitar conventions from like probably, I think it was like 88 or 89 or something like that. And they just set one of these up in a room, and every steel player who has ever played on every single album with steel guitar on it ever played through their amp, and they took the settings and all that kind of stuff. So it's like probably one of the best documented steel amps in history, and one of the best, rightfully so. It's one of the best sounding. It's just fantastic. But yeah, it's got the 15-inch Black Widow in it, and it's a killer. But yeah, if you put it on too, it's got a post and pre-gain for, being able to adjust that. But if you have like, my usual setting is like maybe 2.5 at the pre-gain and 2 at the post, and it's like you gotta. It's just so loud. There's another way to put it. It's just loud.
Yeah. There's the Peavey's. I have this theory about him. We wrote Peavey off in some ways in, I don't know, maybe in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Obviously, there were some exceptions. I think that would be one. I think the 5150 style amps would definitely be one. But generally speaking, people are like, oh, I got this old Peavey. Blah, 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 blah. And even I am guilty of this until like recently revisiting them. And I think the reason we wrote them off is because they're everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
They're
it's
in every classroom, and like, you were always looking to upgrade from that. You were looking to go beyond.
It's like the crescent wrench of like the guitar amp world. Like they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah. But that Peavey, the solid state amps from that era, they sound really good.
Oh, they're incredible. Yeah,
they sound
so
excellent. Chris Benson gave me a Pacer. He was like, "You want this?" And I was like, "No, I don't. I don't want that." And he was like, "Take it home, plug it in, and then tell me if you want it, because I just don't have room for it here, but it sounds really good." And I was like, "Whatever, dude." I plugged it in, and I was like, amazing. "Oh, he's right. This thing sounds excellent."
The Nashville 112s are a great amp. The Pacers, I think there was one that had a crazy name. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
The TNT 100, I've got one back here.
Yeah, those are cool.
A listener gave that to me.
Nice.
And that's just weird. It's like, there's people just want to get rid of them. I'm like, this amp sounds great. It sounds really good.
They're incredible, yeah. I think the other thing too that probably shied a lot of people away is they made so many different models and so many different configurations. Like it's just, there's so many different Peavey amps. Like it's hard to just have like, your twin or your super or something like that. They're not like super definitive. There's just all kinds of different variations of them.
What's still a sleeper, I think, and now it's big and it's heavy, and from what I've been told, they can have some issues sometimes, but if you're looking for a JCM 800 sound and you don't want to pay a JCM 800 price, Peavey Windsor is great. Yeah, it's a great, it's a Marshall basically, but it's a Peavey. I've had one for a long time and it sounds awesome.
Really? I've never seen those. That sounds really cool though.
It's I can't get it. It's in a stack.
That's okay.
It's really big.
Nice.
The head shell is way bigger than it needs to be for some reason.
Yeah, they're like separate head units back in the day. They were like monstrous. I have one of like the PAs that they like an 8-channel PA or something, and it's massive for no reason.
Right.
It's like one input per channel and like maybe 2 knobs. Like it's like a reverb and like a just a broad tone knob. It's great for a PA, but it's like just this monstrous cabinet. Like it's crazy and so heavy. Did
you see the Peavey pedals? The I kind of want to like I'm like slightly collecting them. I only have 2 because I don't see them very often. But
Are they from
I'm
like
also,
the late 90s, like early 2000s ish?
I don't know when they were made. I think it's more like an 80s thing.
Oh, an 80s thing. Okay.
80s or early 90s, I think. So don't quote me on that, Peavey fans. But they look like a Reebok like pump up shoe. They have like a big, like the stomp switch is under this rubber pad, and it kind of has like this bulge.
That's crazy.
They're so weird. They're so strange. But the chorus, the stereo chorus that's pink, it sounds bananas. It sounds so good. It's an analog chorus pedal, and it sounds ridiculously good. And I'm like, well, I think it's called the dual clock stereo chorus is what it's called.
Okay. I'll have to look into those. That's cool. I mean, the little that I know about Peavey effects just from this thing is they have this has a built-in phaser and a what they call the string effect, which is just like a really weird like spiky fuzz that they kind of marketed to steel players being like, oh, you can make it sound kind of like a violin or like a chorus section just by giving it that kind of like grit, you know. But it's just it's a really cool sound. I mean, I'm sure somebody has made it into like a pedal format, it'd be like a great fuzz to have on a board, something really nice to stack with. But even the phaser, it's super like full of depth, and it just even being built into the circuit, it's surprising how well they did that.
Very cool.
So I'm sure the pedal formats of those are like you're talking about. I bet they're pretty good.
All right, Hartley, your invoice will be in the email. Just check your inbox. You know, Miko and I are going to send you a PayPal invoice here pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll put our orders in.
Or maybe just send us a 5150, you know, whatever. Or 6505. Sorry, that's what they do these days. Yeah,
this day. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh boy.
So, what does a day look like for you now? Because like obviously, when you're on the road, we kind of know what that is. But when you're off the road, what are you doing?
Man, being home, just this year in particular has been lighter. Like this first half of the year, we've had some time back and forth. We've kind of got together a couple times and worked on some songs that each other had written and trying to flesh them out and just trying to work on some ideas outside of what we play every night on the road, which is really cool. And all the guys in the band are phenomenal songwriters. They're just amazing. So we do that kind of stuff and just good hangs. We kind of spin our wheels while we're home, just being like, what is life when you get back home, trying to find that, which, you know, the guys have like wives and stuff like that. So they have like actual life responsibilities to deal with. But like, man, I come home and I'm just fortunate enough to be able to sit in this room and just play guitar for till my fingers fall off.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I got a couch here and my JBLs, and I'll put a record on and just play to it. And I don't really look for much else. I mean, I hike a lot. We live on some property, so we have some trails. I love to hike. Big into mycology, just like finding mushrooms, and I don't like forage them or anything like that. I don't really eat them either. I just kind of go look for mushrooms. I just think they look cool.
I don't think I've ever heard that before. Usually people are into that. They're grabbing them.
Yeah. I just, man, I don't have the palate for them, at least just yet. I like you know, grew up around wild mushrooms. Like we have morels and stuff. Like there's some in my backyard now. That's like, you know, one of the classic foraging mushrooms are like chicken of the woods. Grown up around people eating them and just have tried them in different capacities and never really took a taste for them. But I just like looking at them. I think it's fascinating and like the science of it, how they communicate underground and like, you know, live alongside trees and plants and exchange nutrients. It's cool. But
yeah, I remember when and this is like semi recently, maybe within the last like 5 years or so, when I first heard like the world's largest living organism is a mushroom.
Yep.
I was like, what? And then not only that, it was like, it's a mushroom in Oregon. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's in Oregon.
Like,
yeah, the honey
right
mushroom.
where I live.
Yeah.
is the mushroom. Like in my backyard. And
they featured that in the Fascinating World of Fungi doc on Netflix.
I need to watch that. I'm like really lightly interested in all of that stuff. And I do have the palate for it. I've never met a mushroom I didn't like to eat. Of the kind that you can eat.
Right. You're supposed to eat anyhow.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big fan.
That's awesome.
But yeah, a few years ago, there was I was too nervous to do it because I don't know, I'm not an expert at this stuff. And I kind of wish I would have taken a little sample and tried it. My parents had a prince that grew in just out in their field. And I was like, just not quite confident enough because there's like the Prince and the Yellow Stainer look
all kinds of lookalikes. Yeah, it can get dicey very fast. Your day can go very south.
Yeah, so I was like, I picked it and I brought it home and I'm like, and it was huge. It was like, I just got this huge pile of mushrooms and I was like, no.
I know the temptation is so real because it's so like fulfilling. You're like, I picked this thing from the ground. Now I get to cook it and eat it, and I'm living off the land. And but no, it's definitely way better to be cautious about it. I think that's one of the biggest things. It's like it's promoted about like mushroom and safety and stuff. Is you don't always need to eat it. You just it's better to just admire it.
Yes.
Unless you're
fascinating,
totally sure and you're doing spore prints and stuff like that.
It's fascinating though how as a kid I just grew up. I'm like that's a vegetable, and then you grow up and find out it's kind of a animal and a plant at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is
a lot of people
bizarre.
don't realize that. Yeah, how they like actually communicate through the, like electrical signals and stuff like that.
It's the world is weird. The world is real. It's a lot weirder than what we give it credit for.
Absolutely.
So, just kind of segueing back into some of the musical stuff. When you're home and you're writing, do you have a process that you follow, or do you just kind of let it fall out and see what happens?
Dude, I don't write at all. Honestly, I don't write any original music. I try, and it's just nothing really strikes me in the moment. That's like, I guess I shouldn't say that I don't write. I don't write like compositions of my own. I like as far as like a session player would go, is like adding to other people's songs, writing parts that way, or coming up with ideas or arranging. I like the collaborative process of it. I don't really like writing or working in isolation like that. But with the cover stuff, at least, that's I guess a form of writing too, where I'm taking songs that I grew up and love, and they're like parts of me, and like adapting them in new ways, like doing like the Zeppelin tune with steel guitar and stuff like that. Like I guess you could call that writing if you really wanted to. I don't really see it that way. I just see it as like making stuff and doing what I'd like to hear. But
when you've tried to write on your own, does it not grab you because are you like comparing it to those type of things and just like, it's not quite as good, or like what is it that doesn't grab you?
It could be a part of it. I never feel like super inspired to like chase an idea down. I really just don't have like a bunch of like ideas for like riffs and stuff like that coming to my head. I really don't. I've really just never been that way. I'm not sure why. I'm always more interested in like learning like parts of songs, or learning like paying attention to mixes and like trying to not copy, but like get close to that and figure out like kind of the avenues of how those guys would have went down doing that. That's a more recent thing, but as far as like playing goes, it's like learning like guitar parts and stuff like that. I've always just been my mind's been more geared toward that. I hope it changes someday. I'd like to write more, and I'm slowly trying to like, come up with little chord progressions and stuff like that could be seeds for songs I could work on with other people. I've never felt that to be like my calling with music.
Yeah. That's very interesting because I am completely backwards from that. I don't know how many songs that aren't mine that I even know how to play. Like I can't even remember the last time I tried to play a cover. Like
That's cool. Dude, I admire
it's kind of
that so
cool,
much,
but it's kind of
honestly.
dumb too because it like you get stuck in your own bubble, right?
Yeah.
And I have a hard time getting interested in learning other people's songs. I love other people's songs. I love listening to them, but to sit down and play them doesn't fire me up. I'm kind of backwards from that. I rather would just noodle around and find some new sound and kind of chase that rabbit and see what happens. But
yeah,
I wish I had a little more of that because I think you get to be a better player that way by not chasing, but by learning other people's things that you wouldn't have found by yourself.
I mean, a lot of times it is chasing too, because there's stuff out there that your ear can get so hooked on that it's like you do go down like actual rabbit holes of being like, well, why does it sound like this? And who were they as a person to make them sound like this? Which I love, like the music history side of it too. I really enjoy like digging into musicians' lives and like understanding how they became a musician and that sort of thing. And like, that's partly why their playing sounds like that, because of the music that they took in as they were younger and the people that they were around and the place that they lived in. And
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I just never really gravitated towards like coming up with progressions of my own or arrangements or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, maybe someday. I don't know.
Hey, what you're doing right now is working great. So
yeah,
keep doing that.
And I'm happy doing it. I mean, that's the other part of it. I've never, I guess you could say I never felt ambitious enough to chase after original music like that. But I feel like it's a different type of energy being spent. I just like to just listen to stuff and be like, hey, I like how that sounds. I want to make that sound. That's pretty much all that's to it.
Hey, I love it. Like I said,
whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we're getting close to the end of the episode here. And before we get into the classic questions that I like to ask on every episode, I like to give the guests a chance to take the floor. You can plug anything you want to plug, shout out anybody you want to shout out, say hi to your grandma, whatever. The floor is yours right now.
Man, I don't know. I just I'm not used to doing stuff like this. I really don't know what to say here, but yeah, I mean, I have an Instagram if you want to check it out. It's just my first and last name. It's Amico Demuzio. I'm sure you could get the spelling from either the title or the description of this episode. Yeah, I don't know if you want any session or studio work done either remote or in person. If you're near Pittsburgh or you're ever passing through, just let me know. I'd love to play on your stuff, whatever it is, steel, bass, drums, guitar, anything. Hi, Nana. Hi, Mimi. I'm sure they're listening to this right now.
I hope so. So.
Yeah. But man, yeah, I'm super stoked. Thanks so much for this opportunity to get to talk to you. And thanks for supporting our shows and taking an interest in what we do. It really means a lot.
Oh, yeah. I take a big interest in it. It's my favorite hat. Actually, I should have wore it today. What am I doing?
That's so funny because that's how I kind of in turn found out about you too. Because I was just doom scrolling through Instagram and came across your videos, and I'd seen you before, like just in the adjacent YouTube guitarosphere, and I came across one of your reels, and it was you wearing one of our hats. I was like, what the hell? So I'm looking at your Instagram page and stuff, and seeing the substantial stuff you're doing. I'm like, this is so cool. Like this seems like a dude that I should have known for like the last like 10, 15 years. Like
10 years that's about how long I've been doing it. So
that's half my life.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I love what you're doing too. So keep doing it. And it's great. I'm eternally thankful to my wife for turning me on to all of it. Cause I'm more thankful
for her too.
Punk and like metal dude, like in my normal listening habits, but she's so obsessed with country. And I love it. I grew up with it, but she feeds me she gives me the cream of the crop. She's like, you need to check out this and this. And Charles was immediately, I'm like, that's it right there. That's my business.
I love that, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah. All right. We'll get into the classic questions now. Here we go.
Sweet.
And maybe you already answered this one, but what is your favorite Boss pedal?
Favorite Boss pedal, man? It's definitely the two on that board, the slicer and the RE2 Space Echo.
I can't believe I don't have a slicer. Every time someone brings up the slicer, I'm like, why don't I have a slicer?
The night it came out, I bought it because I've adjacently loved like the original synthesizer stuff and like just trying to chase after that kind of sound. And I'm not as like digitally inclined with like the MIDI stuff and all that. So having a tactile hardware unit where that isn't like a huge like Euro rack synth. It's super cool to be able to get those sort of sounds. I don't use it all the time. I probably even haven't like engaged it in the last like 8 months, but it's just super cool. You just get that like wild hair up your ass sometimes. It's like, I just want to make something like weird. And you put that thing on and it's awesome. But the first thing I did with it was I did a video of Eminence Front where I was doing like the arpeggiated synth part and I was doing it with the guitar. It's perfect for that kind of stuff. I love that thing. And I think the Space Echo is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. All right. Final question. What is your favorite kind of pizza?
Oh man. I'll tell you what. I love a good margarita.
Oh yeah.
That's coming from Italian lineage. That's like my favorite.
I figured you'd have some input on that.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think pizza is a perfect vessel for you making it whatever you want to be. I'm not the type of guy to bash people for liking pineapple on pizza, whatever. It's cool. I like it too. It's not my favorite. I'm not going to order one, but if somebody offers me a slice, I'll take it. But man, a good classic like olive oil, ricotta, fresh mozzarella, basil, tomato, margarita pizza. That's my jam right there.
Do you have a favorite pizzeria you want to shout out? Anybody that you just think needs a little love?
Man, it's hard to pick favorites. We did, quick sidebar pizza story. When we played in New Haven, Connecticut, we did like the big three pizza places. We did like Sally's. I'm trying to think of the other two. It was
Modern and Don Pepe's.
Yeah, it was all three of those, and we did a complete shootout with like 3 different types of pizzas from each place, and they were just all so good. I mean, it's amazing. It lived up to the hype for the most part. Some of them were, they were pizza, but some of them really were like incredible. It's like the
Sally's
way all
is the most aesthetically pleasing, at least like they just look incredible. It has to be.
We did. I think maybe the one thing that we got wrong was we did order it before we played, so it showed up by like probably halfway through the show or something like that. So we did get to it kind of cold, had to reheat it, that sort of thing. But sometimes that's good too. Like I love day old pizza, like cold breakfast pizza. It's great.
Yeah, I can get down on that for sure. I think that's what I'm having for lunch, actually.
Oh yeah, there you go. I don't think I have a place in particular. I love my local spot in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. If you're ever passing through, Sal's Boardwalk. It's fantastic. Great pizza. And Mario's Wood Fired in Beaver. They're both it's like the perfect char grilled, wood fired, like crispy bottom pizza ever.
That sounds fantastic.
It's great.
I'm hungry now. I haven't had lunch yet.
Well, yeah, I'm coming up on dinner here. I'm 3 hours ahead of you.
Oh man, yeah. We're both getting hungry.
Yeah, getting there.
Well, dude, thank you so much for hanging out. I really enjoyed the chat. You're welcome back anytime. And keep doing what you're doing. I love it.
Thank you, Blake. It's been an absolute pleasure, man. I really appreciate you.
Yeah. All right, everybody. For Amico, this is Blake. And as always, folks, good luck and good tones. There you have it, folks. There's another episode in the can. Go check out Amico on his socials, which will be linked down in the show notes or the description, wherever you're listening to this podcast. And check out his work with Charles Wesley Godwin. It's rather impressive, if I do say so myself. And also, if you need more, there's more over on Patreon, where you not only get access to the ad-free feed, you also get more conversation with that week's guest. And this one is no exception. Amico and I get into weird stuff. Oh yeah, good stuff though. Good stuff. All right, folks, thank you so much for everything. I appreciate you very much. And I will talk to you on the internet very, very soon.